Never thirsty. Never thirsty. Yo.
Never Thirsty, back again. Another session.
Yes, sir.
To whet your whistle. Never be thirsty, my friends. Like that guy on TV that says, "Stay thirsty, my friends." That guy's a liar. You don't want to do that. Being thirsty is a sign of desperation, and we are never thirsty around here. We always stay hydrated. And I bring drinks with me everywhere I go. People who know me know that you never see Stu Stone without a bag with a couple drinks in it. And I'm not talking about alcohol. I'm talking about, and not like soda pop or anything like that. I'm talking like a Snapple or a vitamin water, something with some nourishment. And that's how that's my secret to success. Like Michael J. Fox, secret of my success. If you can see right there, I don't know if I'm pointing to the right place. Our website is www.stustoneonline.com. The W's are very big today. So shout out to, because just in case, because people who use the internet sometimes don't know that you have to write www.
Stu, you drink coffee?
I have one right here.
There we go.
Stone, aka G Bambino, back in business, and we've got NVRThirsty, Neffy Neff, the Neff man, and we've got Mr. CashApp himself, the man who's collecting the dineros. Mr. WireFang out in Dusseldorf, Germany. How you doing, Fang?
What's good, fam? Big up Dusseldorf.
Yeah. We've got to talk off air about some scheduling things coming up, but we plan on bringing you guys these episodes all the time. We have such a good time doing it, and we're in 3 different parts of the universe. I'm up in Canada right now, where we just had an election last night. Neff is in New York in the United States of America. And of course, we've said that WireFang is in Dusseldorf, Germany. Mm-hmm. How are you, Neff?
I'm all right, man. How are you? You got things going on over there. What's up with the election?
The election is very election. There was an election in Canada, and Justin Trudeau is still the Prime Minister of Canada after the win. And he is the equivalent of probably, I would say, if this was in America, Joe Biden won again. And now I lost your sound. And now I can't hear you at all. Can you guys hear me still? You can, but I can't hear you.
Yes, we can hear you. Sometimes in New York, the sound drops.
I guess so. We do have a guest that's going to join us in about 10 minutes. But before we get to that, I hope that Neff gets his sound figured out. But I want to give a shout out to Cable Guy Jeff and to all of the people who are listening and supporting and watching Never Thirsty, which is our new motto. It's been an old motto for me, but it's new to you if you haven't heard it. Are you can you hear Neff WireFang? This is some compelling stuff. You can or cannot? You cannot. No, something happened. He must have tripped a wire, or he was about to say something controversial, and the world just knew to mute him. Yeah, we still can't hear you. This is compelling stuff. Some interesting things going on in the news. WireFang up in Germany. How is that? I see you're wearing a mask right now.
One.
There he is. How are things in Dusseldorf? Are they okay?
It's okay. I've been DJing at Boobs in Munich every Saturday night, and we get a good crowd. Life is normal in Dusseldorf and in Munich, in Germany as a whole.
Okay, that sounds good. And Neff,
yes,
I
sir.
can hear you now.
Yes.
What's going on over there? What's the latest? What's on your mind, man? We got a few minutes.
Well, listen, I don't know if you've been watching, but we're having troubles at our border. A lot of Haitians are coming through through Texas. They're trying to get into the States, and they got a lot of they got border patrol down there with whips, and they're on horses, whipping and reeling in the Haitians. And there's some incredible pictures of these things going on right now.
I haven't seen.
There's actually men on horses with whips chasing
That sounds
Haitian
very.
refugees, and
That
this
sounds
is
very Texas. That sounds very Indiana Jones.
sounds very Trump.
That sounds not
That's what it
great.
sounds like.
That doesn't sound like very humanitarian
No,
type behavior,
the pictures
especially.
will blow your mind. They'll blow your mind when I tell you a man on a horse with a whip gathering a whole bunch of people. It's insane. So that's what's going on over here. And
Let me
my
ask you a
parents.
question. First of all, I'm not. I think it's awful. Let's just get that out there. I think
Mm,
it's awful. I think that that's a bad choice. A whip is just like should not even be in existence in 2021 or ever. There's like a history of awfulness associated with it, and
big time.
it's just not a good look, and it's just not. Definitely don't support that. I'm wondering what the decision was. How did they land on the decision that that was a good idea? Is it like, hey, we don't want to use guns. We do want to use something not lethal. Let's use a whip. Like what? How did they even come to that decision?
I think that someone was being funny or being evil. I think it was a purposeful. It was meant to
You don't think
show
that was
that.
official policy? That's not like Joe Biden like calling the border saying, let's use whips.
No, I don't think that. I just think it's wherever they are in Texas. The good old boys are coming out to make a stand and make an example and let everyone know. It was embarrassing,
That is
and
embarrassing.
I believe that was a message that was trying to be sent. So the message was received. So now I think there's a lot of campaigns to find the one guy. There's a one man in particular they're
So it's
looking for.
one guy that's doing it.
No, there's a few,
There's
but
a whole
there's
whip.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few, but they got one guy that they're particularly looking for right now. I haven't checked anything else today, but that was yesterday. Yesterday was an insane day,
That is really crazy.
and I thought that Biden and Harris, they would be a little bit more sensitive than Trump was,
And were they?
but well, it happened under their watch.
Well, I mean, like you said, if like some rogue guys up there, like you don't think you think that that was an order from the top.
Well, no, not order. Well, I believe that I don't really understand how the border thing works when one side says we're sensitive to refugees and the other side says, meaning the Republicans and Democrats, saying, hey, keep them out.
Yeah, but
But
like,
now that
if you were to assume political affiliation, let's just say the guy with the whip in the picture, the disgusting pictures that you're talking about,
Republican,
yeah.
I
So
would say, let me not do
okay.
that to the Republicans.
So yeah, is
Yeah,
that I'm just saying. I'm not saying he is Republican or not Republican, and I hate to politicize things and say
yeah,
something's
me
one thing
too.
or the other. But in this instance, it does seem like a very bizarre thing. And you know what? I think that like this whole one bad apple theory that like floats around can be
Yeah,
applied to a lot of sensitive things that have happened in the last decade or beyond. I mean, look at the Israel conflict that's going on. Not that I want to get into that, but there's like some officers that were doing some stuff, and that's not reflective of everybody. And you look
yeah,
at stuff that's going on with the police and racism in the States. Yes, there's obviously a history of racism in America with the police. I'm not going to dispute that. But I'm saying the people that we see on those cameras that are doing terrible things, are those just bad apples that are, you know what I mean? It's like you kind of have to apply that view on all situations, I think. And the one that you're talking
yeah.
about sounds like it could be one of those things.
Absolutely. I do believe there are evil people and there are good people. That's just that. If you really want to get broad, there's evil people and there are good people.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of, but the thing is, power, evil uses force a lot of times. And power will, even if it's a few bad apples, the few bad apples will run the show of all the people from the good.
Right.
And the few bad apples will still be either feared or revered. And they seem to make their messages more pronounced than the good apples,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen,
So
the loudest voice isn't the correct voice all the time. And sometimes a small but mighty crowd can make a loud noise, especially with social media. You get a couple thousand people. Think about this. If 100,000 people tweeted out Neff is a jerk, and all of a sudden there's like a whole trending Neff is a jerk, Neff is a jerk, which is true. But if if it was trending, Neff is a jerk, you would be like, oh my God, the whole world thinks I'm a jerk. I'm trending. I'm canceled. But in reality, 100,000 people tweeting something. How many people tweet? Like a billion people. So it's like a smaller fragment of an audience that has banded together to make a loud voice. You know, if I'm casting a movie, I can bring in one big actor and spend all of my budget on that one actor, or I can take that money and spread it around to the rest of the cast with not as famous actors and try to put together, you know, something a little bit, you know, something loud but bigger. Does that make sense?
You know what? Yes, it does. And also, I don't know how it is in Canada with racism.
Well, racism is everywhere, no matter where you go. But I'd
no,
like to
but
think
this
that Canada's less racist. But
well, there's things, a lot of things everywhere you go, but some places have it, you know, more than others. So I would imagine that Canada doesn't have our history. America, I don't know Canada's history, which is funny.
yeah,
Now I have to think about it. Like I don't know what you guys stand for, what the country is built on. You know, I don't know anything about Canada.
well, I mean,
You
that
know?
gives us plenty to talk about. We might have to table this because we do have a guest that's going to jump on, and to get into the history of Canada and racism might be a topic that takes longer than the 2 minutes we have. But I will say that it seems to me, and I can only speak for what I see in the neighborhoods that I grew up in and live in and go into every day here. You know, I'd like to think that it's a pretty good place here, and there's racist people everywhere. I mean, there's ignorance everywhere. But I'd like to think that there's a way more of us than them everywhere also, not just Canada. I think there's a lot of racist people in America, but I'd like to think that there's more not racist people in America. They're the non-racists outnumber the racists. I like to think that. I don't know if that's reflective. You know, what do you think?
Well, here's a question for you. You're from the outside looking in. What do you think people from you living in another country, what does it look like to you in America? Like if you had to explain America to someone from the outside looking in.
Yeah, I mean, America has a lot of opportunity. It is definitely a land of opportunity. It's like the most capitalist country in the history of the world, where you know someone can get richer than rich, and there's no sort of like ceiling on how rich you could be. That's why you have
city
billionaires and multimillionaires. In other countries, you know, you don't see as many rich people like that. I mean, I can't speak again for what's happening on the other half of the world. I can only speak Canada, United States here. A lot of people live in America. America is still the most desirable place for people around the world to like go to and try to, you know, find the good life, so to speak. But yeah, you know, there's a huge population. And with that, there's going to be discrepancies, and there's going to be haves and not haves. And, you know, there's going to be rich, middle class, lower class, and the lower class is probably getting bigger. The pandemic probably doesn't help that situation. And, you know, the more that people are desperate for money, the more you'll see criminal activity, the more you'll see desperate behavior. So,
but from what I mean from the outside looking in, America seems to have a harsh divide. Yes. From the outside looking in, right? I would imagine that.
For sure. And it's trickled across the border here too. There's definitely that starting to happen in Canada as well.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And everywhere around the world. I mean, it's sort of called the Trump effect or whatever you want to call it. But there's definitely this like right versus left kind of battle going on in every country. And it's definitely not immune here in Canada's not immune to it.
You know what made me? I watched Bowling for Columbine. What's the director's name? Bowling for Columbine.
Michael Moore.
Yes, he had did a. I don't remember if it was that one in particular, but he did a documentary and he highlighted how safe Canada was and how different Canada. Like he was.
True. Yeah,
you know. So
like, in Canada, like we don't have. You can't like just like walk around with a gun in Canada. Like not happening. That's illegal. And I like when I grew up, we didn't lock the front door. That's not necessarily the same. And when they shot that movie, maybe it's different than from when they shot that movie, which was, you know, almost 20 years ago now. But when I grew up, we didn't lock the front door. You know, you could just walk into somebody's house. You know, you kids could go out and play and come home. Like we didn't have cell phones. You know, you go home, go out, ride your bike to wherever. Don't even tell your mom where you're going. Come back when the sun comes down. You know, you know, you're starting to see more crime now just because of the evolution and the sophistication of how people get guns into countries, but you still feel relatively safe here. I would say that it's a very safe place to live, generally speaking. There's obviously victims of crime everywhere, like I said, but here it does feel safe, and the people do feel like morals seem to be sort of important for the majority of the Canadians that I speak to and talk to, and you kind of want to see the right thing happen. But like I said, there's pieces of shit everywhere. I
Yeah,
for
no,
sure
this is a
know
fact.
people who are pieces of shit.
Yes, me too. But you know what I think is going to be crazy? If America ever collapses, ever,
And nobody wants that.
right? You guys are going to have a different life.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. I mean, it's not. Listen, America is like the superpower of the world for military, for everything.
For
America's going to.
now,
You think
think
there's
about it.
going to be a
Well, I
shift?
mean, I'm just saying, there's always a shift. There's always some human beings will promise you one thing, if not anything, is
You think
shifting
America's
and
like had
change.
its run already and now it's done?
Well, I just think that America has karma, and or like just a bad, a bad vibe.
I'm trying to explain to you, like I keep repeating, like it sounds silly maybe now, but like when I say there's bad everywhere, the same type of history that you would find about that you don't like, that's maybe not in the history books, just terrible shit that went down in the formation of this country or America we're talking about, and terrible things that have gone along the way. If you look at any country, it's a human being problem. It's not necessarily an American problem, because it's been going on since the beginning of time. If you read the Bible, there's stories that are terrible. It's like since the beginning of time, recorded time, human beings are the problem. I think like when we all came to this world, we're all brought into this world as peaceful beings that don't know what hate is. Hate is something that you have to learn. And, there's no right, wrong, black, white, anything. When you're a kid, you are just these things have to be sort of taught to you and instilled in you. And so, there's generations of people that have passed down to generations of, and so, it's tough, man. Listen, the woke mob or whatever you want to call it, social justice warriors, they could be annoying too. Like that, like there's a way to sort of help sort of change somebody and open up their opinion. And I don't necessarily think that like the far left has the right approach all the time either, because like it's just like noise is in noise. It's like extreme anything bad.
Never thirsty. Never thirsty.